Dear friends, I want to begin my remarks with two questions. Questions which may sound a bit strange. First, what are Jews exactly? Are we a faith community? A nation? And second, what is Judaism? A religion? A culture? An ethical code? These questions have sparked conversations through the centuries around dinner tables and in convention halls. In 1885, America's early Reform rabbis answered this way: "We consider ourselves no longer a nation, but a religious community, and therefore expect neither a return to Palestine nor the restoration of the Jewish state." A nation was tied to a land. A religious community could flourish anywhere. And having long since left the land of Israel behind, those rabbis believed the ideal of nationhood was not only obsolete, but impeded their mission to the other peoples of the earth. But religious community hardly captures Jews either. Potato Kugel is not religious. Neither is Borscht Belt humor or Yiddish, but all are Jewish. A faith, a culture, an ethical code, a history, and a nation. Judaism comprises them all. It is, as Mordecai Kaplan explained in his seminal work, a civilization. Peoplehood precedes and produces religion. Kaplan believed that Jews have survived as a religious community despite the threats against us from generation to generation because we were first and have always been a people with roots in an ancestral homeland and branches reaching across the globe. Like Ahad Ha'am before him, Kaplan saw the land of Israel at the center, with the Zionist enterprise nourishing a vibrant diaspora life. That was the hope, anyway, and for a century it was realized in significant degree. Israel's declaration of statehood and its victories in 1948, 1949, and 1967 were moments of proud celebration for world Jewry. For many, the Jewish state became the embodiment of the Jewish people's resilient spirit. Diaspora Jews lovingly planted trees in its soil, symbolically rooting their religious identity there. But we know that as the decades have passed, as Israel has grown stronger and its leaders less dependent on Western support, political tensions have strained the Israel-diaspora relationship. Kaplan, who lived to see not just the state's founding, but also its early successes and failures, lamented the way Israel's leaders, beginning with Ben-Gurion, paid insufficient attention to diaspora life. By emphasizing Aliyah and by ceding religious leadership to Israel's Orthodox parties, they disregarded the diaspora rather than keeping it vibrant and connected. For American Jews, this is no less our concern today. We too are faced with very real questions about the strength of Jewish peoplehood, our duty to the Jewish state, and its responsibility to us. Along with rising anti-Semitism, I would argue this to be the crisis confronting American Jewry. Certainly, we recognize as Jewish concerns abortion rights, hunger, poverty, racism, gun violence, the ruination of the environment, and Russia's assault on Ukraine. But at this moment in history, the most significant questions confronting American Jews collectively or whether we still consider ourselves a people, and whether Israel, where more Jews live than any place else, still matters to us or should. Many of us have been angry with Israeli governments before, but no government has concerned us like this one. If we take human rights and the principles of democracy seriously, we cannot ignore what its leaders intend to do. Their effort arousing scrutiny and condemnation abroad and mass protests at home would effectively end judicial independence. And if voted into law, other coalition proposals would be difficult to defeat, like those discriminating against members of the LGBTQ+ community, re-legislating the law of return to halachic standards, relaxing the IDF's rules of engagement, and annexing the West Bank, killing the Palestinian people's own national aspirations. Aspirations already withered by decades of Israeli occupation and a corrupt Palestinian leadership that pays terrorists to slay Israeli civilians, prompting lethal reprisals, both IDF security operations and lawless, brutal settler rampages, as we witnessed this week. The playbook of this coalition might well have been stolen from autocracies like Hungary. The Prime Minister himself, on trial for corruption, is attempting to reshape the very judiciary that will decide his fate, even as he licenses draconian responses to the massive anti-government rallies. Our Jewish commitment to justice demands that we protest. As countless Israelis have written and pleaded, the current government and the people themselves need to know the world is watching. Not just the United Nations, which is always watching and waiting to condemn, but us, the West, the United States, and specifically American Jews. Whether or not the coalition cares is another question. In so many ways, it too has spurned the diaspora, widening a divide that predates its own rise to power. When one Israeli government after another vests authority over religious life in ultra-Orthodox parties who deny the legitimacy of any form of Judaism but their own, that sends a message to the majority of American Jews who are not Orthodox that we don't matter. Many American Jews threw up their hands long ago. But have we not witnessed governments in America, of the left and the right, with which we have disagreed? At times we have been infuriated by their moral failures, but we have not walked away. Rather, we have met with our elected officials. We have advocated and lobbied, rallied and protested. And very often we have worked through non-governmental agencies to enact policy reflecting our values. In Israel, too, there are countless NGOs laboring to alter the course the current government is steering, like the Israel Religious Action Center, ITIM and Hidush, fighting for women's rights, equal funding for non-Orthodox religious institutions, the release of marriage ceremonies from the grip of the Rabbanut, modern educational opportunities for yeshiva students, and religious and civil liberties for all Israelis. We must support them. We may feel angry, alienated, even demoralized, but we are not going to abandon Israel or give up on a dream that took 2,000 years to realize. Coalitions come and go. We have never pledged ourselves to any party, nor should we. Our commitment is only to the existence of a Jewish democratic state to ensure the well-being of our people and the human rights of all its citizens. Perhaps one does not fully appreciate the importance of Israel to Jewish survival until one has endured the type of anti-Semitic threats we're now experiencing in America. But ask European Jews what the fact of Israel means to them, or Argentinian Jewry, or Russian Jewry. Our commitment to Israel is the very litmus test of our concern for Jewish peoplehood. Sadly, our concern for Jewish peoplehood is waning. Studies show that American Jews in their 30s and 40s feel less connected to and less responsible for the well-being of world Jewry than their parents. And our attachments to one another at home are weakening too. In America, in the last 50 years, synagogue affiliation plummeted from 70% to 30%. Congregations are merging, and non-Orthodox movements are shrinking. This is what happens when religion becomes divorced from peoplehood, when an ember separates from the fire that once ignited it. We must reverse the trends, and we can. Synagogues like ours must raise the priority of world Jewry in our teaching and our giving. Congregations, which daily connect Jews with one another, can link them not just to those within their own walls, but to Jewish communities around the country and the globe. And our Zionist education should introduce Jews to all that Israel is, not just its fraught politics, though those politics certainly cannot be ignored. Responding to the Pittsburgh Platform in 1935, Rabbi Abba Hillel Silver declared, "It is the total program of Jewish life and destiny which the religious leaders of our people should stress today. The religious and moral values, the universal concepts, the mandate of mission, as well as the Jewish people itself and all its national aspirations." That is what we must do. But we will need help from Israel, just as Kaplan taught. Israel must recognize that diaspora Jews count. If their democratic values are ignored, if they are repulsed by the treatment of the Palestinians, if non-Orthodox Jews are not granted equal rights there, their support for Israel will further wane, and they will, as many of America's early reformers did, tear away the branches from the root. And that will be as damaging to Israel as it will be to us. Avinu Shabashamayim, O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel. May it soon again mark the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish fullness of joy in the land for all who dwell there. And bless and bind our people wherever we dwell. Amen.